I am here to speak about Attack on Titan games on Roblox and why most of them always fail and why this new one has potential. If they add these things, I'm gonna start talking about soon. So before we get into it, I'm gonna need you to subscribe and like the video, and then let's just get right into it. So the first thing, we have a problem. So you've probably heard of Titan Age and Attack on Titan Freedom Awaits. Matter of fact, I have made videos on both of them on my channel. Now, both of those games were very different, but they both were based around Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan Freedom Awaits had the best I've ever seen ODM gear movement in any Attack on Titan game. It had the best and it was a lot of fun playing, but the issue came from there was no progression, as in the game was repeatable. So there was no progression. You just killed titans until you got your leaderboard rank and bought skins with the money you got for your sport, but there was no you didn't get any levels, you didn't progress, your character was always the same. You all relied on your skill to kill titans and to then buy skins. There was no end game. But you could say that game was in testing. I mean, that game was in testing for the entirety of its existence. To be honest, they should have taken their time to actually implement a progression system, at least to keep the game alive, so people can progress through and maybe getting better ODM gear, starting off with bad and then getting better and better, adding skills and traits and perks that Titan Age did. Except the problem with Titan Age is it lacked the enough progression and it didn't have fluid ODM gear, which would suck, and it was pretty laggy and the graphics wasn't too good. But one thing Titan Age had was it had progression, as in you could get perks. But the issue comes from the permadeath mechanic in Titan Age, where you would lose all your progression if you died, it was very easy to die in Titan Age because the titans could kill you anytime. And so losing all your progression, all your perks that are super rare to get, it really sucked, and that made people stop playing Titan Age. And to be honest, if you want an Attack on Titan game to work on Roblox, what you need to do is you need to actually have a set progression system that basically improves, and you don't want to have permadeath if you're gonna make the game difficult, as in you die so easily to titans, which is permadeath can work in games like Rogue Lineage or Deep Woken, except those allow for quick progression if you know how to progress, and so wiping is no problem. But let's say in a game like Titan Age, where wiping, if you wipe you lose every perk, and getting perks is hard and you have to dedicate a lot of time, you're basically just telling people, oh, you died to a titan by a bug or by luck, oh well, you just have to spend 8 hours again to get back all your perks, which is kind of ridiculous and doesn't make people want to play. The difference between permadeath from Deep Woken and Rogue is because they allow for quick progression, as in if there was no players and there was only, let's say, PvE people and progression, they didn't require killing people, people will progress through the game super fast because all they really need to do was to farm the mobs until they reach the max level, and then that's that. That's why if you're gonna add a permadeath system, you need to have a pretty simplistic and very, very fast progression system. So if you ever wipe, you can always get back, if you know exactly what you're doing, get back to where you were. So that's the difference between adding permadeath. That was Titan Age added. Attack on Titan and Freedom Awaits had a big problem, which was they didn't add nothing new for its existence. It could have been the biggest Attack on Titan game, and it had a lot of players. The only thing that it struggled to do was it didn't add any updates, and they had no progression. So just let the game be in its demo forever, never change anything. Now for this game that is scrolling on the screen, I believe the game is very fun. It reminds me of Battlefield. And one thing I want the game to do is it needs to add progression. Currently I don't know fast progression because I haven't played it long enough, but if they don't, or if they do, the progression and is very important. That keeps people, because they care about their character they're building. People like to progress. People don't like to lose their progression due to something, so you need to keep, because the replayability of this game only is so much. You need to have progression where you can get better and better over and over again, so you can progress the character, and you can add updates which adds new content. That's how you keep a game alive. That's how GPO works. If you didn't know, the updates keep it alive. If it didn't have any updates, the game would have died immediately. And same with debugging. When people eventually get to learn how to get to a max level, the game's gonna if they didn't add any updates, the game's gonna suddenly start falling off, because they need to add updates is what keeps the progression continue. And a perfect system to keep your longevity for a game like that is by adding progression. That is by adding updates every month or so. 2 months, 3 months, doesn't matter, as long as the updates come on an interval and adds enough content to keep them for a couple of months. Until your next update, you can keep them literally playing forever, and that they'll enjoy it and they won't feel bored. And except if you obviously make it overly grindy, which is people will notice how you're wasting my time, but that's all. So I'm recommending this, whatever it's called, let me just check. To add, I recommend Titan Warfare to add basically a progression system where you have a character in which you can progress from 0 to max. If they have that and they add regular updates and they polish up on the ODM and the graphics, they're just fine. They continue this forever. But if you make the game like Battlefield, even Battlefield has progression where you can get better and better weapons and better stuff over time by leveling up. So that's just proven. The levels or progression is the most important part in the game. The progression is what we care about. That's the most fundamental part of it. But that's all. I've rambled on too much. If you are still here, I recommend you to subscribe. I make a lot of videos in mostly GPO now but yeah, whatever, I keep rambling. Peace out.